Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar on Bigin's overview and setup and customization. So my name is Divya. I'm from the team Bigin, and I'll be the host for today's session. Now, in this webinar, we will be talking briefly about Bigin in general, and then we will just move on to the section on how to set up Bigin and customize it to perfectly suit your unique business requirements. Now, before we start, let's take care of a few basic things. If you have any questions during the webinar, you can post them on the Q&A box that we have it on your screen. Since today's audience is at large, we will answer all your questions via email. I'm also recording this session. We'll send out a follow-up email with the recorded version along with other details I'll be mentioning during this presentation. I'm using the premium edition of Bigin for the purpose of the webinar. And if you need any help on the topics that we covered today, please write to support@bigin.com. Also, I'll be running one of the quick polls in between and at the end of the session to understand more about your product usage and your overall webinar experience. So moving forward, we value your feedback. Please don't forget to share your feedback about this webinar on social media by mentioning @Bigin, or you can tag us using #Bigin. So before I start, can I confirm whether you all can hear me? Can everyone see my screen? Please use the Q&A box that you have it on your screen to respond. Right. So thank you so much for the response. Now let's just kickstart with what is Bigin. Well, Bigin is basically a pipeline-based CRM that is built just for the small business that empowers the businesses to run their distinct customer operations inside CRM system. Though it looks very simple and minimal by design with user-friendly UI, but it's very powerful for your business where you can set up and start using the product in under 30 minutes with effortless onboarding. And Bigin is built on the quite popular Zoho CRM platform, which is an industry giant, and that caters to over 150,000 companies and 30 million users globally for more than a decade and a half. So how is Bigin different from Zoho CRM? More importantly, we just need to understand how is Bigin different from any CRM in the market. Well, to put it straight, Bigin is a CRM that is built just for the small business, and boldly you can call it the only CRM available for the small and the micro business. Now, speaking of small businesses, let us now see why is Bigin the best CRM for the small scale business. But before I tell you that, we have an interesting update that Bigin has already amazed over 20,000 plus customers globally within just 1 year. And this only strengthens the fact that this is the best CRM for the small scale business. So here is the 3 things to that why. It is very easy to use. It has the right features, the right amount of features so that you won't feel overwhelming. And it is affordable at a price rate of $7 per month per user, for which Bigin is considered to be the cheapest CRM ever. Now let me explain these 3 pillars of strength in brief. So you must have noticed both on your computer as well as on the mobile application. The Bigin is minimal in design, and it's consciously kept simple so that when you access your pipelines, make some changes to the records, when you even do some changes to the pipelines that you have, now it should be easy and very straightforward for you all to use the application so that you will never lose a track of what something means or which is which in your Bigin system. So Bigin comes with some of the industry first features for the SMEs. So this team pipelines, which is recently introduced, that gives you the 360-degree view in a single interface, which covers both the business management, also the communication which is going on between the teams. The customizable dashboards are available. Now with that, you can able to track your overall performance. The built-in telephony lets you to place the calls to the customers, the contacts that you have it. Also, you can receive the calls, everything you can do it right within your Bigin. The workflow automation helps you to automate your daily routine task based on the conditions that you set. Also, we are having a bunch of very popular integration links along with Bigin's own developer APIs are available. And with that, you can make sure that you are connecting your Bigin to any other application that you want to use with. A full-fledged mobile application is available for both iPhone, Android devices, which does all that you can do it on your system. And finally, a CRM that can be used in 28 different global languages. So to see more deals, the best option would be Bigin, which is also the cheapest CRM. You can find it on the market that starts with the rate of $7 per month per user, which can also be billed annually too. Now, apart from sales, we also can provide 30-day onboarding service. We can provide support via phone, email, and live chat. Also, we can help you to migrate your data, import the data within Bigin account. And in case of needed any personal trainings according to your business type, we also have our technical experts who can assist you with a personalized demo. So for which you need to write to us on support@bigin.com. Right, so we just covered the overview. Let's go on and see how to set up Bigin for the business. Now, the features which you're seeing it on the screen are the basic ones. And here comes this list of bigger features, which supplements the basics more efficiently. Now, both the list of features, you just need to customize it according to your business type and your requirements. Now, first and foremost, you have to sign up. So where you have to enter the details of your company, starting with the name, the contact details, the currency that should be based on wherever your company is headquartered. So once you click this Explore Bigin, that will take you to your Bigin account. So over here on your left, you can notice we have this list of modules and we have this search tab. So using that, you can search for any data within Bigin to revisit quickly. And we have this instant create option. So using this plus icon, you can instantly create the record in these list of modules. And we have this notifications icon. So this is where you can track your system notifications, the reminders, also the other users, if they have created an activity for you, or if they have tagged you in a notes, all these will be given to you as a notification right here. And also we have the signals, which gets you the communication updates from your customers. And finally, we have the settings, which has all the controls that you need to set up within your Bigin account. So now that we have entered into Bigin, let's quickly start with the modules first. So we have around 6 modules over here. So first comes the pipelines. The pipelines is where you can keep your sales conversions. You can track the sales conversions right from the beginning to the end. So we have this list of stages, which you must have predefined. All these stages will be available right under this stage panel. So you can now see there is this qualification. We have need analysis, this price quote, followed by this closed won, closed lost. So each and every deal which is associated will have to go through these list of stages, which is predefined until it is closed won or closed lost. Now, right under the contacts module, you can have all your customer details entered. So if someone interested to buy your product or to buy your services, acquire your services, so those customers who are interested to deal a business with you, so those customer details, you can enter them right under the contacts. The companies, well, if you are into B2B sales, or if any of your customer wants to purchase a product for a company usage, but not for the personal usage, then you can make sure all those company details gets added right under the company's module. So using the products, you can list down all the products that you're going to sell to your customers. Right under the activities, you can track all those activities that you have created within your Bigin. So the tasks, events, and the calls, everything, you can find them right here in bulk. Also go to this dashboards, which gets you the analytics. This is your inbuilt analytics. So we have the list of dashboards in the components that lets you understand how well you're faring inside your organization. So now that we covered the basics, which means the modules, let's just move on and see how to bring in the data into those modules. So we have a lot of ways to bring in the data. So we can able to create it manually. We can also import the records, or if you want to do it with the forms, we have options to integrate the forms. With that, the customer data can be automatically pushed as a record. So let's just quickly see one by one. If you want to manually create it, it's quite easy. Just go to any module and you will find this plus icon right here. Click on this so you can start adding the customer information. All these fields needs to be entered and then you can finally save it. So the customer data can be added into that respective module. But if you have conducted a trade show, so you might have conducted and you must have collected the customer information in bulk in a file. So how exactly you can import all those customer data into your Bigin module? So right next to this create option, you have this little drop down. So there you find this list of options to import the records. Also, you find the options to create a form, and using the form, you can collect the data. Now let's go to this import contacts. So there you have the options to upload the file, but please make sure the file is only in the following formats, which is XLS, XLSX, VCF, or CSV. Now just browse the file that you have it. Now it will be automatically uploaded. Once this upload is completed, click on this next. And on this page, you can find some options. Like if you wanted these records to be added as a new contacts, go with the first option. Maybe in the previous import, you might have missed updating certain fields. And now in this import, you would have done that. In that case, if you just wanted to update the existing one, the old one, then you can choose the second option. Or when you have both new and the old one in the file and you just want to upload both, and here comes the option both. So you just need to choose the field. So these two are the mandate field, the unique field that you have it in the contacts. So you can pick either one to identify the existing, and with that you can able to move on to the next. So on this page, you can do the field mappings because the fields will be deferred from the file that you are migrating from also to this fields that is available within Bigin account. So now to map it, you can do it either manually by choosing the one from the drop down, or otherwise you can prefer the apply auto mapping options to do this automatically too. So once the fields are mapped, click on this next, and here comes the options to assign the owner. So choose the user from the drop down, and so you can assign it. And also if you want to add the tags to let the users identify the records, maybe if you want to prioritize the follow-up actions, or you just want to let the users that these records are through the imports, so you can just add the tags accordingly. So there you have this important tag. Also, if you just come down, you'll find this import tag, hot lead, high priority. So these are all the tags which I created previously. Now, if you have created any, you can choose from that and you can able to click finish. So now this is scheduled. So once this import is completed, you will be receiving the notification right here in the bottom right corner. Now, meanwhile, let's go on to the settings. Yeah, we just received this import status. As you could see, this is now successfully completed. So with that, you can just go back to this settings. Right under settings, you have data administration, and under import, you will have this import history. So this is where you can find like how many records are added, updated, skipped. In case if you want to undo this import, so right under this ellipsis, you find this undo options to do it. So next to this import, you also can find this export data. So first and foremost, you have to choose a module from the dropdown from which you want to export the data. So choose, click export. So this will also be scheduled. So once this file is ready, same way, you'll also be receiving a notification for this export status with the download link. So you just have to click on that download link to download the file, and that will be in the CSV format. So this is how you can manually create it. You can import and export the data within your Bigin modules. Now, how about the forms? So we have this forms available. So there you have this export status received. Now you can just go to this settings and there comes this forms. So I have already created one for the contacts, but if you want to create new, click on this new form icon. So you can choose between either you want to create it for the contacts or to the pipelines. Now, when you choose the contacts, you will have the options to pick the fields from the contacts as well as the company's module. So now you can just drag and drop the fields. We already have this mandate field available on the editor, but apart from that, if you want to add more fields like first name, so you can just drag it, drop it, or you can just find this plus icon. So using that plus icon, you also can add it. For example, I want this email to be added. I want this mobile. So same way, if I want to know the location of the customer, the contact ID, the industry, so all these I can just simply with a click, I can add it. Now, if I also want to include the fields from the companies, so I can switch to the company's module, and now I can add those fields which I wanted to have it, like the company name, the website, the description of the company, the country where the company is from, also the contact number, all these I can add it over here too. Same way, if you just wanted to create it for the pipelines, the difference will be you'll be having options to choose the fields even from the pipelines along with the contacts and the companies, but the rest are all the same. So here, if you take a look, I have already created this form. Now this form I created for the contacts, so I have added the fields from both contacts as well as the company's module. So once I'm done adding with these fields, we can just move to the next step. And here we have to assign the owner, like who's going to work on these records. So we must choose the owner and add it. If you wanted to give the notifications to the owner, just enable this checkbox. Also, you can add the tags to identify that these records are through the websites, from web downloads. So all those tags you can add it and create it, and accordingly you can add it to it. Now we have an options to show on the screen. So when the customer submits the details on the form, so what exactly that you want to do with post that? Either you can display the thank you message, or if you just wanted to redirect them to a page to refer maybe other products, or if you have a thank you page, you also can just go to this option, mention that URL, so accordingly they will be redirected. Or otherwise, you can simply go with this thank you message to be displayed on the screen. Now with that, you can able to save and move on to the next. And here comes this list of options to share the form. So you can just copy this link, you can email the customer, or you can share it on social media, or you can let them to scan this QR code, or you have this list of code format. So you can just use any one code format to have this embedded on your website. So this is the website. I'm using it for the demo purpose. Now this form I have already embedded over here. So same way, you can just copy any code and give it to your developers so they can have this form to be embedded on your website. So whenever you receive a website visitors, those details which they submit on the form, all those will be automatically added as a record within your Bigin module. Now, let me just show you how to add, but this will take some time to receive it within our contacts module. So let's add now, and later we will search and see. And there, if you notice, we have this thank you message available on the screen. So this is how you can have the form to be created, and using the form, you can collect the data, and that will be automatically added as a record within your Bigin module. So now we just saw the list of ways to receive the data. So what happens when you add the data? Obviously, we need to have a team to start working on those data. So that's when the option comes to add in the users into your Bigin account. But before you add the users, it's always mandate that we need to create the roles and the profiles first, because the roles and the profiles will define their access. So over here, if you just go on to this settings, you have this users and controls, and there you can find this profiles and the roles. The roles are very simple. It's just your designations, the role names that you have it in your organization. But when you open it in your system, you can only find your company and this CEO role mentioned over here. Just like these roles which I added previously, if you want to add, Click on this new role icon. Give the role name, pick the reporting manager from this list of roles that you have created and save it. So accordingly, the roles will be listed over here. The profiles, on the other hand, will define their access, like what kind of actions the users can do. So we already have this default profiles, which is administrator and the standard. Administrator will be having all the access throughout your system. So just take a look at this description. Now this tells you that this profile will be having all the access. But the standard will have some restrictions in terms of the administrative privileges, which is the only difference between these two default profiles that we have right here. Since the administrator has all the controls, you can just give this profile to the top level management people in your organization, and the standard can be given to the mid-level executives who doesn't need this admin access. But let's say that you're having some set of users, like the contractors, temp staffs, or maybe the interns. So you just want to give them a separate access. In that case, you cannot prefer the administrator or rather standard. And so we have an option for it. So you can click on this icon to create a custom profile for them. So let's name it as contractors. Choose a profile to clone from. And then you can start modifying their access. Now, if in case you wanted them not to access anything from the pipelines module, then you can disable it. So they will not access any data from the pipelines. But if you only want to restrict few actions, in that case, you can click on the drop-down right here to just modify the access from here. So you can let them view, but not allowing them to modify anything. In that case, you can disable, create, edit, and delete access. Same way, you also can do it for the rest others. And right here, you can able to save it. So we are now done with this roles and the profiles. Let's go on to the users over here to add a new user. Just click on this plus new user icon. So we can start adding them with the first name, the last name, the email ID, pick the relevant role from the list of roles that you create. Also, this profile will be displayed, all this list of profiles. So you can choose one from the drop-down, you can add it, and you can invite the user. So every time you add the user into your Bigin, the invitation email will be sent to them along with the link. So these users have to click on that link to mark themselves as a confirmed user right within your Bigin account. So we're just done with the user management part. Now I'm going to run a quick poll to understand how many users you're going to add into your Bigin account. So you can let us know through this poll. Right. So thank you so much for answering the poll. Now, so far, we just saw how to, add the data into your Bigin module, how to add the team to start working on them and giving them the access. Now it's time for us to see, begin with the existing fields in the existing modules or matching our unique business requirements or not. If not, we need to customize the fields. We need to add the custom fields into the existing modules. But how to do it? So we have this list of field types available. Under that, we have this lookup field available, which is a very interesting field that creates a relationship between two different modules. So first of all, if you just get back, you can find this contacts module available right here. Now, as I was just telling you previously, the contacts or the customers who are interested to purchase your product, who are interested to deal a business with you. But if you are entering the contact details over here, do we have any default field available to capture the product details? So you can able to track it later that this is the product the customer wanted to purchase. Of course, we don't have any default field available. And so with this, you can able to add a custom field into this module. So likewise, if you have any requirements where you need the custom fields to be added into this existing module, you just need to go to this settings and you find this fields. Now there you have this list of existing modules. Now in case if you want to change the names of these existing modules to the terms which you follow in your business, click on this edit. So you will find the options to add the names, the new names, and you can able to click save. So otherwise you can also go to this customize fields option, which is down here. And now using this plus custom field, you can add a new field type. So there you have this list of field types. The pick list will work like a drop down. So you can mention all those products over here, add more options, add more products. So from the drop down, you can add a product when you create a contact. But if you don't want to use this, you have other field types like text, which will work like a single line. Now using that, you can manually enter the product name. Or otherwise, we can go to this lookup to, which is the field type that we're going to discuss right now. Now this field type will connect two modules together. So with this, you don't have to mention it manually, or you don't have to predefine it in the list. So with this, you can directly pick the products from the products module itself, because we're going to pick this products module and link that with the contacts. So let me just show you, but before that, let me add the name to it. So now everything is set. Save it. So if we go to this contacts right now, and I'm going to create a new contact. So here we can enter the name and other details of the customer. But if you come down, and there you have this product info field. So this is the custom field that we just created. Now, if you click on this icon, which is right here, now this will show you all the list of products that you have it in the products module. So you don't have to mention it. You don't have to predefine in the list. So there it is. You can easily pick from the list and you can add it to the record and save it. So that's how you can use this custom field options to add in a new field type into your existing modules to match your business requirements. So now we are almost set. So we also have done customization to make sure all these fields and the modules are matching to your business requirements. So what's going to be the next? So how about configuring the data that we have received through various different ways? But what do we generally, configuring the automation of those data? What do we generally get out of it? So we could see our business starts functioning smoothly. We can also increase our, the team's productivity and make sure that we get rid of this human errors and human efforts. Now let's just quickly start with this contacts that you receive it on every single day. So what do we generally do with those contacts? So say, for example, you just want to create an activity like initiating a task, or you just wanted your users to call the customers to get the requirements collected. So you wanted to send them a simple welcome email. So these are all the general, follow-ups that you wish to do. So how exactly we can make sure that we do it for the records that you receive it in bulk? Because that's a time-consuming process. So that's why we have introduced workflows. The advanced workflows lets you to do all these regular follow-ups, and that can be automated based on the conditions that you set. So over here, if you just get back, you can go to the settings. Now, right under settings, you have workflows. So let's just create a new workflow over here using this icon. Now, first of all, you have to choose a module. So there you have this list of modules. So go ahead and choose the module and you can give a name. Right here comes the trigger. So when you wanted this rule to be triggered, like either you're going with the record action or you just want to do it based on the date and the time. So, but when it comes to the record action, you have this list of options. Like if you want to do it when a record gets created, edited, or on either one condition, so you can choose between that and you can initiate it. Or if you want to give the reminders to your customers about the payments, renewals, subscriptions, or you just want to wish them on their birthdays, anniversaries, and then you have this the date and the time field available in that particular module. So choose accordingly and you can able to trigger it. So let's go with this record action because I just want to initiate the follow-up action when a record gets created in the contacts module. So I'm choosing this created option and moving on to the next. Now, if you want to do the actions only for a specific contact, for example, you just want to do it for a specific company, contacts, or a specific, contact owner's contact, or maybe with the country name, the industry name. So just use this field, set the condition, filter it, and do the actions only for them. Or otherwise, you can also go with all contacts, which is irrespective of the condition. And here comes the actions. Now using instant, you can able to do it immediately, or if you wanted to schedule it later, there you find this schedule actions too. So right here, you have the options to schedule it on a particular day and time. So right under the actions, you have this list of actions. Like the first one comes this emails. If you want to send a welcome email or any greeting email, you can use this send email option. So you can pick a template and you can automate it. You also can automate the field updates in that particular record. If you want to assign the owner, there it is. You have the options to assign the owner from here. Or if you want to create a new record in these following list of modules, you get able to do it. Other than that, we also have this activity options. So you can able to create a task, schedule a call, create an event. So all these options are available right here. Or if you just want to add the tags or remove the existing tags, there it is. And this file cabinet is an extension which we will talk about it today at the end. But just remember that we have this options, even you can automate it using workflows. Let's go to this email because I just want to first initiate a welcome email. So let me just give this name. And we must choose the recipient. Obviously, that's going to be the contact's email ID. Now, if there are any additional recipients, we can able to mention that as providing the comma in between by just mentioning the email ID right here. And choose the template. So if you have the template already created and saved, you can choose it from the existing, or there find this create template option. So you can able to use that to create new. Save it. So we now have this email action updated. Apart from that, you still have options to add more action to the same rule. Click on right here. So now I'm going to initiate a task. The task is to call the customer. So I'm just going to give the name. And pick the owner. Or if you want to assign it to any user, you can also choose. And what is the due date that you want to mention? So it's either going to be based on the workflow trigger date or task created time, modified time, a date of birth of the customer. So always you can just choose between that and mention the time, the days, and you can even give the notifications to the owner by enabling this checkbox, set the reminder, or if you just want to mark this as high priority, you can do these, just enable all these options right here. Now save it so the task will also be created. Same way if you also want to add the tags. So like I said previously, the tags will help you identify the records. Now if you want to prioritize the actions on this, you can add this important tag, follow-up needed tag. Likewise, you can just add and save it. So now 3 actions, instant actions are scheduled. Let's save it. Let's go to this contacts over here. So I'm just going to create a new contact so that I can show you how this will work. Let's also add a product right here so we can able to find how this is linked with the contacts. So now you can notice that we just created this contact under the contacts module. The trigger, what I mentioned, this record met that trigger. So you can able to find the tags added. And if you go to this activities, take a look, the task is now created to call the customer. And right under emails, if you check, the welcome email is now triggered using the workflow alerts. So this is how you can automate the regular follow-ups based on the triggers that you set, the conditions that you set using the workflows. And if you now notice, we also have this product details available in this particular contact record. But if you also want to see this contact details under the products record, you can just click open this. So right under this product record now, We have this related list, and over here you find this related contact, and that will get you the contact details over here. So this way, using lookup, you can able to track both the record details on both the modules simultaneously. Right, so now let's just quickly see the basics. So initially, when you set up your Bigin account, we must, update the home currency. That should be based on wherever your company is headquartered. But apart from that, if you are dealing some international business, so you might be in need of this additional currencies. So where exactly you can access your multi-currencies? So right over here under this settings, so just go to this organization. Next to the organization details, we have this multi-currencies tab over here. So we can add up to 10 active currencies apart from the home currency that we have already set. Click on this new currency icon that is available so that I can choose one from the drop down. Just save it so that will be automatically updated over here. We also have this custom views and the filters available. Now using these, you can able to revisit any data quickly. So just go to any module, for instance. We have this filters over here. Now, these are all the fields, the options that we have it to filter and quickly refer the data. For example, if you wanted to see the contact that has some particular tags, so choose this tag as an option and choose those tags as a search, apply the filter, and so the results will be available quickly. So you can use, you can see these are the records that has the tag, website, and important that are available over here. But if you wanted to revisit this again, so same way, you have to just go pick this tag from here, apply the filter, and only then you can able to view it. But how about having a quick access to it, which you can able to see it right under the views. So these are all the default views which is available. So if you want to see this co-owner contacts or mailing labels or the contacts which has your name as a contact owner, those which are created last week, this week, likewise, you can quickly access. Apart from that, if you also want to create your own view, click on this plus create view icon so that you can choose a field from the drop down. Let's go with the same tag. I just want to have a quick access to the contact that has a tag, website important. So I'm giving the name to the search as tag. And these 4 fields will be available on the search results by default. Apart from these, if you want to include any fields, so you can choose it from the drop down, like I'm adding contact owner, the first name and the last name, the tag. So if you also want to include any fields from here, you can select them and include, and right here you can able to save it. So we have this tag view created. This is a custom view. Apart from the public, the default one, we also have the custom view. So I don't have to create again to see those list of tags. So I can simply click on this name and that will get me the results instantly over here. So this is how you can able to access your filters and the views available. Now, speaking of tags, we have introduced the color tags to have a better identification of the record. So you can go to any module that you have it over here. Just click on this ellipsis and you find this manage tags option. Now, these are all the tags which I previously added for this particular module. But if you want to add new, click on this plus tags. So you can just add it from here, choose a color and save it. Also, if you want to change the color for the existing tags that's been already added, click on right here so that you can choose your favorite color. Just choose, and accordingly, you can make sure that it's updated to the existing tags. And then we have this search and sort option available. So with that, you can search for any record instantly, and you can do the modifications on the search results. And the sorting option is available to sort it in the order that you're comfortable working with. Now you find the search. If you remember, we just added a customer record on the form. So by now that should be received. So you can go and search for the customer record over here. So we have it. This is the customer that we just added on the form. Now this is added under the contacts. You also can find the contact number is missing. So for which I don't have to open this entire record to update this, this simple information. I can click on this edit on the search results. I can update the contact number of the customer, save it, that will be updated in the record too. And like I said, you have this sorting option available so that you can find the options to sort it in the order that you're comfortable working with. So we all know that a business varies in terms of this teams, verticals, different processes, and everything points out to one way, which faces the customer operations. Now, Bigin not only has the sales pipeline, we have recently launched the team pipelines, which unifies all the customer related communication in one place. Be it any industry, any type, any size of the company, we can now set team pipelines which binds all the different teams' work to be monitored on a single interface with the help of the sub-pipelines that we have. So we can make sure that all those team works are created as different sub-pipelines which can be accommodated on a single interface to monitor. But how to connect these sub-pipelines? Because every single process is a connected process in an organization. And so we have this connected pipelines available. So with this, with the help of the automation process, we can able to automate the records to be moved from one sub-pipeline to another sub-pipeline automatically. So let's quickly see how this will work for your business. So when you just get back, the first module that you'll have is the pipelines module. The standard is the default one. Apart from that, if you wish to create a team pipeline, just click on this plus icon that is right here. So we can either start it from the scratch by adding the stages on your own, or you can also pick this from the existing templates. So click on this pick a template. So we will be having this list of templates available for the team specific, also for the industry specific. So whenever you choose the industry according to your industry type, you will notice that the stages will differ accordingly. Now, if you notice, I have already created one team pipeline for the recruitment industry. So click on this little ellipsis and you will find this edit option. So here you can rename this pipeline name and you can enter the name of the records that you wanted to have it. Also here you can give the permissions for the teams. So based on selecting the profiles, you can give them the access and then you can save it over here. So now we just created the team pipeline over here. So how to add the teams, the entire list of teams that you have it in your organization. So here we have the sub pipelines. So I have already created two. One is for the hiring team. Another one is for the documentation team. So here the hiring team will take care of all the interview activities and the documentation team will take care of the document collections and also the offer release. So I just split the work based on two different teams. Also, I have created two sub pipelines to monitor the work. If you also want to create a more sub pipeline, you find this plus icon, which is right here. So we just need to click on this, give a name to it. And so we can add the stages, add the closed stages, and we can able to save it over here. So now we take a look at this hiring team stages. The stages will differ between the sub pipelines. So in this particular sub pipeline, I've just mentioned the stage as shortlisted, screening, interview process. The final stage over here is documents collected. Now, once the candidate profile moves, the record moves to this documents collected stage, I wanted the customer record to be automatically moved to the second pipeline, which is the documentation team, because this team will take care of the rest of the follow-up activities. So once the documents collected, it will be sent to the BG team, and then the salary will be discussed. And once the offer is sent, if it is accepted, then it's going to be closed won, or otherwise it's going to be closed lost. So that's how I've just differentiated the process. But how to automate this one? For which you need to go to this settings. So you find the workflows. Now using the workflows, you can use this automation process to create a connected pipeline. So like I have already created one. So same way you also can create using this new workflow icon by choosing this pipelines module. So let me show you the one which I created. So I have chosen the pipeline, the team pipeline that I have created. And the trigger, what I mentioned is based on the record action, I've chosen the edit option. So whenever the stage field gets edited, so I wanted the record should be moved automatically to the second sub pipeline. So that can be automated right here because we will be having this connected record option only when you choose the pipelines module. So for example, if you notice, we have this create connected record option available. So you can click on this, choose the team pipeline, move on to the next. So all these fields will be auto updated. Now, what you have to do is just select the sub pipeline that you wanted the record to be automatically moved, also the stage, and just save it. So this is done. Save the rule. So now this automation is created. So go to this pipelines right now. For example, I'm just opening this first record. So I'm going to slowly move from one stage to another. And finally, when this is moved to the last stage of this first sub pipeline, I want this record to be automatically moved. So what I can do is just click on this child record, which is created right here. So when I click on this, this record will be automatically moved to the second sub pipeline, which is the documentation team. And now we can go to the other set of stage process over here. So we can finally come to know whether it's a closed lost or closed won. So that's how you can able to carry over your business using the team pipeline. And by creating this sub pipelines, you can monitor all the teams work together in a single interface. And with the help of the connected pipelines, you can connect the teams work together with the help of the automation. Moving on to the stage transition rules. Now let's just consider the standard pipeline that we have. So the deal from a standard pipeline will be moved between qualification, need analysis, value proposition. So these are all the default stages. Now, what should be the reason that we are moving it from one stage to another? Or do we generally update the reasons or update the field information, the activities that needs to be done? So are we doing something on the record to give notifications to the users? So give the reasons why we are moving it from one stage to another. So definitely there are a lot of loopholes and the gaps are available in this process. So to overcome that, we have this transition rule being introduced. So we can just get back to this settings. So right under stages, you find this stage transition rules. So here you have to create a rule. So everything needs to be predefined. So only then the system will automatically suggest the user to update certain information when they are moving a deal from one stage to another. For example, click on this new role. So say I just move the deal from qualification to the price quote. Now, generally, when we are moving it from qualification to the price quote, it should be either the customer requesting for the pricing details or you just wanted to send the price quote to the customer. So this will be the reason that we are moving it. Now, considering this as a situation, we can make sure certain information are updated as a mandatory option. So we can make sure the fields are updated as a mandatory option, or if you want to mandate the notes update, or if you want to attach any files. Now, in this case, you can attach the price quotes, or if you want to add any checklists, all these can be enabled. But what are the fields that you want to update it as a mandate option? So you need to choose those fields from here. Since we are going to send the price quote, I wanted the amount field to be updated, the closing date, as well as I'm choosing this deal owner who is supposed to email the customer the pricing details. So all these three fields are updated and I'm going to save this one. So now that the rule is created, we can now go to this pipelines. So this is created for the standard. So let's just go to the standard pipeline right here. And I'm just going to move this deal from qualifications to the price quote. And you will see the system will automatically suggest us to fill in all these information. So only when I update the amount and pick the closing date, I can able to move it from qualifications to the price quote. Also, we need to pick the deal owner. We have to add the notes. The notes can be anything, like instructing the team member to send the price quote or to the regular follow-ups. Or if you just wanted to call the customer, you also can give the notes right here accordingly. So you can also tag the user name. And now that this is updated, click on this move to price quote so that everything will be updated on the record. And with that, you can also notice that we just moved from qualifications to the price quote automatically. So that's how we can make sure certain information are updated on the customer record to have a clarity on why we just moved a deal from one stage to another. Now, you also can notice that we are moving a deal straightly to the closed one and closed lost from any particular, the stages that we have defined, without going through this intermediate stages that we have already defined. But how to stop it? How to make sure this, the deals that you have are not prematurely closed? So the next option that we have is this restrict closure settings. So once you enable, this will make sure that premature closing is stopped. So you can just go to this stage transition rule again. Right next to this transition rule, you have this closure restriction. So here you have to predefine it. So first, you need to add the stage from which stage you don't want your deal to be prematurely closed. So that you need to choose it from the drop down. Now save it. So you can just get back to the same deal. Now, take an example that I'm just going to close it right now from qualifications to the price to the closed one. Now, earlier I could able to do it, but now if you notice, I cannot just do this action because of this restrict closure settings enabled. So now comes the interesting one, which is going to be the channels. But before I move on to the channels, I just want to, run a poll to understand which social platform do you use the most to connect to customers. So you can let us know through this poll. So as a business leaders, you all know that your customers are scattered across the world. So you will have to reach them using various different channels. Now just imagine how helpful to see all these conversations that you have created with multiple different channels, and everything can be tracked under one roof, which is exactly that you can do it using Bigin. So now emails are still considered to be one of the most trusted sources of communication. So we have options to integrate email ID with a Bigin account, and with that, you can able to send and receive the emails. Everything can be tracked right within the Bigin customer record. So you have this list of servers. We have Zoho Mail, Gmail, Outlook, or even you can integrate your domain email address. So right here under settings, you have channels, and here we have the emails. So once you're done with the integration, then you can choose the email sharing permissions. Now, if you want to share all your customer email conversation to your users, then you can choose this public option, or otherwise you can keep this, private enabled. So right under this templates, you can create the templates, save it right here so that later it can be used to automate the email action. And under email insights, you must enable this email insights so that it will get you the updates on this sent email status, whether your email is opened, clicked, bounced. So everything you will just come to know only when you enable this email insights. So now with this configuration, you can able to send the emails to the customers, and if the customer responded, you also can track this incoming emails, and that can be tracked under the customer record within your Bigin account. Now, once you're done with the emails, the next channel is going to be the telephony. So we have two ways to configure. One is, if you take a look at the marketplace, we have the list of phone bridge extensions. So you can integrate a one and place a call, or otherwise you can go with this built-in integration. So same way, if you go onto the settings under channels, you find this phone. Now, under this telephony marketplace, you can find this list of phone bridge extensions. So integrate one so that you can, log into place and receive the calls. Otherwise, go to this built-in integration. First of all, you have to buy a number based on your country. The number type that you wished, you can choose it from here. So this will either show you this available numbers so that you can choose from the drop down, or otherwise it will ask you to send a request to the support team. So once you send, they will get you the available numbers. So from this, you can choose one, move on to the next to add the credits. So now let me show you with another demo account where I've already integrated with the built-in. So there you have. And this is the number that I've already purchased, and click on this edit to see more details. So you can find the options to associate the user, to give them the access to this particular number. So you can choose them from the drop down, you can add them. And right under this configure IVR menu, you can just go for the configuration. Like it should be based on the key presses. So you can just customize it accordingly right here. Like when the caller presses 1, you can direct the call to one department. Set of users can answer the call. Same way, when they press 2, you can redirect to another department. Another set of users can answer the call. So likewise, you also can go for this call queue. So you can set the caller limit, like how many callers should be waiting in the queue, and what is the maximum waiting time in terms of minutes. While they are waiting, you can play some music, announcements to keep them engaged. If you're having the company policies to record your calls, you can select this options to start recording all your calls and save the changes over here. Now, the final channel is going to be the social media. We have the direct integration available right here for Twitter. So you just have to go to this social tab, and so you can enable this. You can just integrate, configure your Twitter account, and based on selecting the profiles, you can give the access to the teams so they can communicate with the customers. The administrator is the default one that will be available. Apart from that, if you want to give the access to the standard, the view only can be given to the contractors, to anyone else. So you can choose the profile accordingly and you can add them to the list. Now you are using these list of channels to communicate. And now the customer started responding back. So only when you see that as a notification, you will come to know so that you can respond back to them within your SLA. So how do you receive the notification, or how can you receive the notification on the communication that you receive from the customers? So we have the signals over here, which gets you the real-time notification of all the responses that comes. It can be like incoming, the emails, or if you have missed any calls, or you are receiving DMs from your Twitter or retweets. So some kind of communication that comes from the customers. So you'll get a notification on it. So seeing that, you can respond back to them within your SLA. So right under channels, you can find this signals. But first of all, you need to enable all these options. So for calls, for email insights, for emails, also for this Twitter, and the email in and file cabinet is an extension, which we will talk about it shortly. And there is this desk. If you have integrated Zoho desk with Bigin, and if any customer created a ticket, so if you want to wish to see that ticket, just enable this one, so that ticket details will be available on the customer Bigin record. So now right under this signals tab, you can able to find the list of notification comes to you. So here, if you notice, there are a couple of emails got bounced. So one customer opened the email, and also if you come down, you can also see that we have missed a call from a customer. So likewise, you can see the list of notification comes to you. And here comes this integrations, which we now call it as toppings. So these are all the in-house applications which can be used to integrate within Bigin, and which you can able to find it right under the toppings. So there you have this built by Bigin, and this can be integrated within your Bigin account. Followed by, we also have this marketplace. So this is where you can find all the third-party extensions. Now that can be filtered based on the category, edition, price, and the rating. So you just need to click on the search icon, which is right here, to search for the extensions, have it integrated within your Bigin account. Now, out of those list of in-house extensions, we have this email in and file cabinet, which was recently introduced. Now, the email in can help you to automatically add the records into the respective sub-pipelines. If you just remember, I have this team pipeline that I have created. So we have this sub-pipeline, which is the hiring team and the documentation team. So say, for example, a candidate sends a resume. So I wanted that to be created as a record under the hiring team. But if a candidate sends the documents, I wanted that to be created as a record in the documentation team. Now, how to make sure this gets automatically created? So that's why this email in topping is introduced. So first of all, you just need to go to this toppings. Right under this built by Bigin, you have this email in extension. So first of all, you have to install this one. And then later you can click on this plus new email alias. So using that, you can able to create the alias. Just mention this ID, the name and the friendly name, and to which sub pipeline and the team pipeline and the sub pipeline the record should be added automatically. That needs to be predefined, and who should work on those records, the tag if you need it to add. So just pick one and add it, and finally you can save it. Same way you can also add for another sub pipeline too. So just give this ID, the email ID, to the customer, to the candidate. Now, if they are sending the resume, that will be automatically created as a record in the hiring team. But if they are sending the documents, so using this ID, they can able to see that record gets created automatically in the documentation team. The next one is going to be the file cabinet. Now, this extension will make sure the file is easily exchanged with the customers. So instead of adding those files on the emails when you face this size exceed limits and all that, so instead of facing these issues, you can just go to this integration part. So you can find this link available, install this file cabinet extension, and then you can go to any record. For example, if I open up a contact, now right under this related list, you have this files. And you can notice this enable file cabinet option available. Now, if you remember, this option was available on the workflows too, which means you can also automate this option. Now let's enable it manually. Just click on it. And this is the link the customer should access. So using that link, this is nothing but the work drive link. You can just go to this work drive by typing workdrive.zoho.com. The right under application folder, under Bigin folder, under contacts. Now, once you send this one, you can find this folder also created for the customer right here. Just click open the customer folder within file cabinet folder, and this is where you can exchange the files. Whatever you share, the customer share, everything can be accessed right under this folder. For example, if I'm just sharing a file, so I'm just adding this on this folder. And now if you just check under the customer record, under external files, this gets automatically added within the customer record. So this way, whatever you add, the customer add, everything will be automatically added within the customer record. But if you have anything added under the internal files within the Bigin account, so say for example, now I wanted this to be shared with my customer. Instead of downloading this and all, just click on this move to external files. Move the file. Now this will be moved to the external files. And also if you notice, this gets automatically added under this file cabinet folder. So this is how we can easily exchange the files with your customers. Whatever you share, everything, or the customer share, everything can be accessed right here, also within the customer record. Now, the final option is where you can find this development center available, so that if you are strong in coding and you want to create your own toppings, you can write a code and make sure that it gets created. You can also create the custom buttons, the related list, widgets, everything can be done right here. So you will find the options under toppings right next to the marketplace. So here we have this create options too. And finally, when everything started to work, you can analyze your overall performance with the dashboards that we have. So the dashboards will get you the data in a graphical representation way. So just go to this dashboards module, and right under this dropdown, you can find this existing dashboards and the components. Or if you want to add more components, click on this plus component, so that you can also find the KPIs, charts, and also the target meter. So using these components, you can add and you can able to track your overall performance. So the compliance in Bigin is a great way to ensure you have the consent of the people you collect and process the data from. By turning on GDPR, you can rest assured that your data collected would be in compliance with the GDPR laws. Now, this can be accessed under settings next to the roles. And here is the form which the subject has to see. This can be customized. So they could just type in their word of consent right here and submit the response. So as mentioned earlier, Bigin has already amazed over 20,000 plus customers, small businesses globally within just 1 year. And also Bigin is highly rated by both critics, users, and you also can find the reviews available on the App Store, Google Play Store. Also, it will be available on the online marketplace too. So that brings us to the wrap. If you have any more questions, you can post them on the Q&A box. Thank you so much for joining this session today. If you find this webinar adds value to business, please do not forget to share your feedbacks about this webinar on social media by mentioning @Bigin, or you can also tag us mentioning #Bigin. So I'm just going to launch a quick poll to understand your overall webinar experience. You can rate this webinar through this poll.